all the dignitaries on stage and off stage, and to the future of my country who's there right in front of me, a very, very good morning and a great pleasure, an honor to be addressing all of you. While I see all of you here, I'm cognizant of the fact that I'm standing in front of Bharat's future. In each of your success, this country will rise, it will shine, and it will enter that new era, that new yug, in the yugantar, one yug after another, that we are hoping this country goes to greatness. Of course, on this morning, I have a dual disadvantage. One is in these times of T20 matches, limited overs matches, to come as the last speaker after such illustrious speakers who preceded me, including some brilliant student speakers, that itself is a great challenge. The second challenge that I face today is I'm going to talk a little about a subject which probably most of you hated in your school and in your growing up years, and that is history. As a show of hands, let me just ask all of you, and please be honest. How many of you really liked the history that you learned while you were in school? Wow, that's fairly decent. I think 10-15%. I think it would be even lesser, if it was asked outside. I, for one, was one who probably, to be very honest, hated history in school. Most of the punishment that I got was in the history class. Kneeling down outside was all that I was condemned to all the time. But then, as you grow up, you realize that this is not just a subject which we memorize by heart, which is how we are taught the subject, right? I mean, you need to mug up all the dates, who succeeded whom, which war was fought in which year, extraneous details which are of no importance to anybody. But as you grow up, you realize, and as Swamiji also alluded to in his inspiring speech, that unless you know about where you came from, you cannot chart a course for the future. While driving too, they say, have a look at the rear view mirror while you go front. Now, if you keep looking at the rear view mirror, you're going to have an accident very surely. But then one eye at the past is very much essential if you have to take a plunge into the future. And in that context, history becomes a very important mirror in which we can identify ourselves as a civilization, as a nation, and as a people. And so that is why a proper study of history, especially in a time when we are talking yugantar, ek yug ke baad dusra yug, to understand this march of history across various yug is very important. And I think our colonial masters understood, and as George Orwell, the English novelist, had said, he who controls the past controls the future. So those who have a clear understanding of the past and who control the narrative of that are able to control not only the present but also the future. So just if you reflect on the kind of history that you were taught to, constantly we are told that India is not even a nation, isn't it? I mean, a lot of us who are educated also, somewhere subliminally, I think we believe that we were not even a nation. We were constantly fighting with each other. There were so many divisions amongst us. It is the British who came and gave us a sense of civilization. They gave us education. They gave us railways. They gave us hospitals. They gave us everything. And that was again a colonial project which had to tell us that right from your earliest ancestors, the so-called myth of the Aryan invasion theory that was floated, right from your earliest ancestors, everybody came from outside. You people are not destined to rule yourself. You're not capable of it. It is in your karma, your destiny, to have someone else come and rule you. And so we, the British, are just a version 2.0, a software update, so to say, where we are coming from outside and ruling you. Now, a nation and a nation state are two very different concepts. Nation states are defined by borders, by laws, by political territories. But a nation state is defined by a sense of common identity, a civilizational connect. And in that, all my young friends, Over the millennia, I think there has been an astonishing convergence of views. Right from the Vishnu Puran, which says very, very clearly, Uttaram yat samudrasya himadraschaiva dakshinam varshatad bharatam nama bharati yatra santati. The whole landmass north of the oceans and south of the Himalayas, that landmass, it's not just landmass, Varsha or country is called Bharat and its children are called Bharatiyas. Now, what clearer enunciation can be there of a nation, a sacred geography? It is not just a piece of land that we inhabit, but also something where Janani Janma Bhumischa Swargadapi Gariyasi. Mother and motherland are better than heaven, is what our scriptures have told us. So, this aspect of self-respect that was needed was stripped away from the way we looked at our past, in the way we are taught our past, because we had to be ruled, we had to be enslaved. Now that has to go if we have to move to the next yug from here. We may become a 3 trillion, 5 trillion economy, we may have the best of military might, but if the software is not robust, if we do not have a sense of pride about what our ancestors achieved and a sense of genuine pride. I'm not talking of jingoism, Mera Bharat Mahan, everything about the past is great, we developed the atom bomb. No, not that. But a sense of genuine pride as to what we have done in the 5,000, 6,000 years of our documented history. I think that is very important if we have to find that sense of what it means to be a Bharatiya. Now also, if you just look back at your history textbooks that you learned, what were all the wars that you learnt about? The Arab invasion of Sindh, India and Indians lost. The battles of Panipat, India and Indians lost. You had the Battle of Tarain, Indians lost. The Anglo-Mysore War, Indians lost. Anglo-Maratha Wars, Indians lost. The Anglo-Sikh Wars, Indians lost. Battle of Plassey, Indians lost. So our history is taught to us like a long litany list of battles that we as Indians lost. Now today, ladies and gentlemen, if we are still alive and kicking as the only pre-Bronze Age era civilization, mind you, the only pre-Bronze Age era civilization that is still alive, kicking, and our traditions, our faiths, our religions, our languages, our customs are still alive, there must have been some wars that we won also, some amount of bravery that our poor ancestors also demonstrated. So why is it that these stories are not told to us? And most of them were young men and women. And I must heartily, thank and commend the Bharatiya Chhatra Sansad that several of these heroes and more importantly heroines, I see a lot of young girls here, many of them from my book are actually listed there. Velu Nachiyar, Rani Naiki Devi of Gujarat, who in her 20s, she became the first queen who defeated Muhammad Ghori in the Battle of Kasarhada in 1178. And we would not even have heard Rani Naiki Devi, the Chalukyan ruler of Gujarat, even her name. Lalitaditya Muktapida, again in his 30s, called the second Samudragupta of India, ensured that the Arabs did not conquer any amount of land beyond that narrow strip of Sindh. There is Rani Abbakka from the state I come from, Karnataka, small little town near Mangalore, coastal Karnataka, who defeated the Portuguese. Imagine a European power being defeated through local indigenous technology by this lady who used indigenous, gunpowder and all of that to actually vanquish the Portuguese. Similarly, you had Velu Nachiyar from Tamil Nadu. You had Kanhoji Angre from this very state of Maharashtra, who was the first Sarkhel or the military naval commander of the Maratha Navy, who defeated the Siddhis, the Dutch, the English, the Portuguese, all of them, and kept the Konkan coast, independent for a long time. So all these stories, there are numerous such unsung heroes and heroines about whom you can read. Begum Hazrat Mahal from Awadh, who was a lady who came from very, very humble backgrounds, and she was in fact discarded by Nawab Wajid Ali Shah but later on went on to lead the 1857 rebellion, and Lucknow was the last bastion that the British managed to conquer. So these are the heroes and heroines whose stories we need to read to give us that sense of genuine pride. What did our ancestors do? What were our achievements in the fields of science, in the fields of mathematics, in the fields of alchemy, yoga, medicine, Ayurveda, philosophy, our unique way of what being an Indian means. And I stand in a place which is not too far away from where one of the greatest freedom fighters of his times, Swatantravir Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, who studied in this very city of Pune, organized the first ever student bonfire of foreign clothes. First ever student bonfire. He was a student like some of you studying at Fergusson College. And when the partition of Bengal happened in 1905, at this Lakdi Pul that is there, I crossed it as we came, that was where he collected, under the guidance of Lokmanya Tilak, organized the first student bonfire, for which he got rusticated from college. He also had to pay a very hefty fine to the principal, who was an Anglophile. And he galvanized the revolutionary movement in India. And the revolutionary movement, to all my young friends here, they were all people of your age, 20s, early 30s, not more than that, who took up the gun to liberate their motherland. And great men and women who endured some of the worst tortures. Again, from Pune, you had the Chafekar Bandhus, who, again, very close to where we stand, the Chafekar brothers, Vasudev Balwant Phadke, who reignited the flame of the 1857 rebellion after it was, it was crushed by the British, and the Chafekar brothers who killed the plague commissioner of Pune city. Several of these people, the Gadar movement, the HSRA of Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, Rajguru, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was mentioned, and of course Rash Bihari Bose, who formed the Indian National Army. We need to draw these parallel narratives of what our freedom movement is all about. It was not just a simple, linear, monochromatic vision of a non-violent struggle. There was also a violent uprising which was led by young people like you, who were willing to face the biggest challenges. They went and suffered the worst of tortures in Kala Pani in Andamans, where even food was not available. The clothes to wear were not available. In the hot blazing summer of Port Blair, they had to go round and round the Kolhu Ka Bail punishment and extract oil. Even going to the toilet was not a facility that they were given. So many of them had to defecate and urinate in their own cells, in the narrow little cells that they had. And these are the kind of tortures that these young people faced, so that you and I today can breathe and live in an independent India. So that sense of gratitude for all of them, that sense of respect for all our ancestors, I think through the Bharatiya Chhatra Sansad Manch, I would like to pay those tributes on behalf of all of you to these great heroes. And once again, before I end, I would like to heartily thank Professor Vishwanath Karad, Sri Rahul Karadji, and the entire team of the Sansad for putting together the future of Bharat in this hall. As I mentioned right in my opening statement, in your success, the country will rise, the country will shine, and the country will prosper. So may God bless all of you young people, and may you lead this great nation to further greatness in the next Yuga Pravartan that is going to happen for all of us. Jai Hind.